We are loaded like rarely before on the 360 agenda. Brisbane takes a throw at the stumps, citing the hardness of the Gabba wickets in a bid to clear star Cam Rayner for the elimination final. The Suns' fears realised as gun youngster Izak Rankine walks out of Gold Coast with the intention of accepting a rich deal at Adelaide. And the Giants declare they've hit the jackpot as they unveil Adam Kingsley as the club's third coach. The man himself joins us live. I'm Gerard Whateley, here's Mark Robinson. This Tuesday night, it's footy from all angles. Hello, Robbo.
G'day, Gerard.
We have a stacked hour.
It is enormous.
To bring
it is enormous.
In fact, we've done the numbers. If we've done them right, we've got the weight of 14 premierships that are going to come through. 4 senior coaches, 3 superstars of the competition. Simon Goodwin, John Longmire, Adam Kingsley, Beck Goddard, Tom Hawkins, Jack Riewoldt, Chloe Malloy.
In the tribunal.
There's an important tribunal case happening and the first piece in the trade puzzle has fallen.
Be quick tonight. I drove home last night as a dude reviewing the show. I thought you waffled on a bit last night.
Right.
Okay, so just narrow the focus.
Give it a bit too much of this last night.
Yeah, you're all over the shop, Gerard. All over the shop.
All right.
So what we're going to do, just focus, okay?
All right.
Focus.
Let's launch into our agenda, and it starts with our exclusive access to the finals coaches throughout these 2 weeks. Melbourne will mount its premiership defence from second as they look to repeat the deeds of last September.
This is the reigning Premier making a bit of a statement. This is going to be sending shockwaves around the whole comp.
Exhilarating, powerful, all conquering the demons.
Petrarca the dribbler, and it bounces over the defender's head. They just cannot do anything wrong.
There's some nervousness going through the rest of the competition given what we're seeing here from Melbourne.
Neil Bullen, Gozzy Pickett, French, vintage Melbourne. Gee, they look good when they play this sort of footy.
It's as convincing as they've been since we were talking about them in the fashion we were around 10, when they were 10 and 0. I think they're back now.
Melbourne's best is still the best, and tonight I think we saw just how devastating they are.
So a late season warning reverberates around the AFL, and it's come from the reigning Premier.
So Friday night next week, Melbourne and the Sydney Swans, both coaches coming up, beginning with Simon Goodwin, the reigning premiership coach. Simon, great to have you back on 360.
Yeah, evening Gerard, evening Robbo, good to be on.
Nothing's come easy since halfway, so I'm curious, was it a momentous moment to nail down second?
Yeah, look, it was. I think it's, every club sets out to set themselves up in the best opportunity possible and give yourself the best platform to drive success and obviously to finish where we finish. We get a home final in the top 4 and, it is a great position to be in as a footy club. And we think in the last 6 weeks we've been able to build in terms of how we've played and the way we've gone about our footy to really now start to look forward to challenge throughout the final series.
Is it significant that no matter the fall of the results, your finals are at the MCG?
Oh, I think it's absolutely brilliant for our supporters. They've been starved of, finals footy for a couple of years now, and to have their team back at the MCG where, it's our home and where we love playing, it's great to establish ourselves there, and we know the challenge that we have in front of us, and no bigger challenge than the Swans next Friday night.
We had Chris got on last night, and Gerard, I thought, asked a brilliant question about does Chris go into finals mode coaching? And I want to ask you, Goody, now that the home and away season's done, do you go into a different mode or is it still the same Simon Goodwin and the same message week after week?
Oh, look, it's very similar, Robbo. We've been building this process internally over 3 or 4 years now about how we operate in big moments and big games, and the real consistency about how we go about it is to make sure we've got clarity in what we're doing and clarity within our roles. So nothing should really change internally. We know the stakes are higher. There's no question about that. The players understand the stakes are higher. But internally, you've got to be really clear on what's expected from your team, individually from within your role. That's not only from the players, that's from coaches and that's from all the staff. And that's how you have success in the big games and the big moments.
It's really interesting because predictability, people can say, oh, that goes against them because we know what we're doing, but it's predictability from your team. They all know what they're doing, so that's good. But you've played enough football and seen enough finals and coached enough finals to know that it can change with one injury. So how prepared are you with your contingency plans, and how much have you worked on them in, say, the second half of the year?
Yeah, we've had to work on a number of different things throughout the season. You know, we didn't have Christian Salem for the first 13 weeks of the season, so Angus Brayshaw moved back. You know, he's now moved back into the midfield. We haven't had Tom McDonald and a tall forward line for a number of weeks now. So Jake Belcham's been able to come into the team and impact the team in that sense. You know, we went a week without two ruckmen. So we've been able to build these contingencies throughout the year, and obviously some of these things might bob up throughout the final series. You know, Tom McDonald looks like he's going to be back available for us at some stage in the next few weeks, so that gives us another chance to look at something different again.
Have you lightened the load on Clayton Oliver just during this bye week?
Yeah, we have. You know, he's had a pretty big load, and you know, we've been really clear with our group about building that cohesion with our playing group and playing as much footy as we can. And this gives us a great opportunity this week to certainly lighten his load. You know, he's carried a big load throughout the year, and a little freshen up over the next 4 or 5 days. We're doing well, and you know, we'll set him up with a really good week of training next week.
I know you want to put the Harrison Petty situation behind you there, Goody, but the players, some of your leaders spoke today at a bit of an open training session. They're all adults and they've all got their views on it. In the past 24, 48 hours, are you still happy with how it's been handled? And first of all, how's Harrison? That's really, really important, probably the most important. But does more have to be done, or is this a case for the players must have their own code of conduct?
Yeah, I think it's one for the players, but I think, you know, that first and foremost, Harrison's fine. You know, he's been able to move through it over the weekend, and he's come into the club today with a smile on his face. But you know, I thought that both clubs handled it brilliantly. You know, between Alan Richardson and Danny Daly from Brisbane, you know, it started there, and then there was obviously a lot of remorse from the Brisbane side of things, and then apologies that came forward. And I think sometimes things get said on field, and you know, in this case, it probably went a bit over the top. But you know, thankfully, the players have been able to have this discussion, accept each other's apology, and keep moving forward. And the main person in this is Harrison, and he's been able to work his way through it, and you know, he's in a good spot today.
Is there a line, Goody? Do you talk to your players about crossing the line? Because the stories are coming out that your boys weren't exactly shrinking violets in the heat of that contest. Is there a line that you speak to your players about?
I can't comment on what was said out in the ground on Friday night, but I think there is a line, and I think, you know, as a playing group, this is a great reminder, you know, for us internally as much as anything, as well as the learnings of, you know, what's spoken about on field and how it can get away from you. So we'll grab the learnings on the reverse side of it from our end to know that we don't want to be in this situation ourselves.
You want the season to build to a climax, and it's certainly doing that from your perspective. We've had little glimpses inside the rooms. Firstly, yours after the Carlton win as you entered the confines of the room, and then we saw the return of the Wolf of Wall Street on Friday night, wasn't it?
Ah, good.
Yeah, look, it's you know, something that we've sort of worked on for the last 3 or 4 years. It's just one of our little rituals internally that build this connection and belonging to certain elements that sit within your game style and message that you want to create. And these are the reasons why you play footy together, and the emotional connection. And this is significant to our defensive side of our game, and something that we want to be really strong at. And it's just something we can get the buy-in towards and enjoy after the game.
Can I just one before you go, Goody? All year, people are pulling you apart. Oh, they can't do this, they can't do that. You finished second on the ladder after everything that's happened. That confidence, what sort of confidence? I know it's a pretty bland word, confidence, but what do you think that does for the group to say, hang on, we've had all these things happen and we're second on the ladder? What does that do for the group?
Oh, there's a lot of belief internally with our playing group and the way that we play. And the way we've been able to finish, that belief's growing bigger and bigger. And we've had a lot thrown at us both internally and externally, and we're sitting second on the ladder with the best defensive team in the competition. So we're confident in where we're at and where we sit, but we know that this is a new season and a new beginning, and all our challenges that we've been able to put to bed so far, we've got some bigger ones that sit in front of us right now.
I'm absolutely struck by the artwork in your house, Simon, as last time it was the pear. That is rather eye-catching behind you.
Yeah, we've made some progressions from the pear. We've moved into the barley version over here, so I'll continue to change up my artwork just for you, Jared and Robbo.
Good stuff. Simon, thanks for your time tonight. Good luck for what's to come.
Thanks, guys.
Simon Goodwin,
It's a
the
great
premiership
shot,
coach.
Yep. Nice stuff.
Very good. All right, John Longmire shortly. Critical tribunal case tonight, Robbo.
Yep.
Cam Rayner, a 1-week suspension for a dangerous tackle. The Lions need him in their elimination final as they're grappling with a lot at this stage. David Zeta is following the case. David, how has it unfolded so far?
Evening, Jared. Evening, Robbo. Well, they've been sent to deliberate just a short time ago, just as we go to air tonight. So it's a bit of a marathon hearing. The Lions are arguing that Cam Rayner's conduct was not careless, and that if it was careless, it falls under low and not medium impact, which would, if it was downgraded, mean that he is free to play in the first final. Now, most of the argument between the two sides comes down to how much of the momentum in this tackle is due to Rayner and how much is due to Ben Brown. So Cam Rayner gave evidence and was questioned for about 40 minutes. He said Brown's momentum was the reason that this spinning motion occurred, and that his legs were off the ground, as you can see here, during most of the tackle. And really all he did was jump on and hold on, in his words, to stop Brown from getting away. And if he had released Ben Brown's arms, then Ben Brown gets away with the football, and Brisbane is in a worse position than they were when he began the tackle. Now, he also revealed he and Brown spoke on the ground after the game, and that Brown admitted it was a high-velocity contest. Rayner flatly rejected the idea when asked that he engaged in a slinging motion. The AFL says that Rayner was largely responsible for this action, and that it was unreasonable to keep pinning Ben Brown's arms given the vulnerable position he was in. Reference was made to the Gabba wicket, as we suspected. A Clegg hammer reading was given out, whatever that means, and he pointed to size discrepancy between himself and Ben Brown and said he really did need to jump on and hold on in order to prevent Ben Brown from getting away from him. So we should have a result. We will have a result before the end of the show. They started deliberating about 10 minutes ago. I'll bring that to you as soon as it comes through.
They didn't bring legendary curator Kevin Mitchell in to talk about the hardness of the Gabba pitch, did they?
They didn't. Jeff Gleeson, the tribunal chairperson, admitted himself, I have no idea what a Clegg hammer reading is, and I agree with him. So they moved on pretty promptly from it. We should have a decision soon, and then we can figure out what a Clegg hammer reading is later.
Back with you.
Do you know what a Clegg hammer reading is?
I do. That was when Colonial Stadium first opened. It was all about the penetrometer and the Clegg hammer.
penetrometer.
And I do know what the middle of the Gabba is like.
What's his chances? I think that's a solid argument.
I think they've made a good case.
Yeah.
I do think it's a textbook dangerous tackle. Pin both arms, and your obligation is not to take the player face first into the ground.
But he's sort of right. He's hanging on for dear life. What about the hardness of the pitch?
Yeah.
That is a fantastic argument. I'm
so
really
if that's
curious.
elsewhere on the ground, does Ben Brown end up as bloodied?
Yes.
And is Rayner culpable for that, given that he's laid the tackle in that place?
Could we go to appeal, Jared?
Well, we could go to appeal, Robbo, and then heaven
More
knows
QCs.
where we end up by then.
The AFL will have kittens if they appeal.
So we will have a verdict for you, I'm sure, before the show is done. The first key piece of the trade season landed today. Gold Coast lost control of this late in the season. They looked like they had Izak Rayner. They feared a raid from the Crows. Rankine, sorry, I beg your pardon. And that's how it's panned out. Rankine wants to leave, and he wants to take the 5-year, $4 million deal at the Crows.
He's got to take it. He just has to. And people are saying, pressure. He's got to take it. It's a deal. 2 years ago, he was playing under-18 football. If someone wants to come through with a deal like this, he just has to say yes. Now, young fellow will know by now, he's playing AFL football, but he's been warned about the stresses of what's going to come in Adelaide. My reluctance to jump up and down with excitement about this is, right now, Jared, he's not worth 800, whatever it is, 800 to 900. There's so many figures. I'll say 800, OK? He's not worth 800. He's a small forward with tricks at $800,000. Cyril Rioli's the best small forward that I've ever seen. And he wouldn't be anywhere near that. I know the wages have gone up. But my God, Jared, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money to tie up in that position.
Yeah, it is.
To Jordan Dawson and the money that they've spent there. It just makes you wonder, in the picture of a rebuild, to use your money in those two positions rather than explosive midfielders and key forwards. It defies things.
But good luck to them.
Yeah,
they're being bold.
It is rough for Gold Coast. Pick 3 years. They've nursed him through a lot. He made a good start and then had a really poor stretch where they've taught him football, I suspect, and actually they won't get any of the benefits for it. So the Crows will want to compensate them well.
Yeah, they will be first rounder, no doubt. He's not worth 2.
No, he's
just
certainly
not.
worth 5. Pick 5.
Oh, he's worth... No, sorry.
And
He's not worth 2 first-rounders.
No.
That's been blown out of water, this 2 first-rounders. Because football always has champs coming through, and you take a punt on getting the next champion. So, yeah. Anyway, good luck to him. Be a good watch.
We're due in Sydney next. We're going to meet the Giants' new coach, but first of all, we're going to settle with John Longmire, who's got his Swans to 3rd. It's a brilliant performance by club, by coach, and now can they mount their premiership challenge? Together, pitted in a qualifying final on Friday week when Melbourne and the Swans do battle. So Simon Goodwin has joined us from home. John Longmire's at the club in Sydney. John, thanks for staying back. Welcome back to 360.
G'day, Jared, Robbo.
How do you reflect on a top 4 finish?
Oh, I said to the players immediately after the game, it's a fantastic achievement, and we tend to move on really quickly in this game. There's always next week and next week and next week. But I just said to our players, our staff, our VFL boys who also finished top 4, just to take a little moment that night and take it in and absorb the fact that you're in the top 4 and before we get back into the hard work that's ahead of us. And it's important to just reflect for a moment.
It is an outstanding result to be 3rd. How would you say it has built through the season? And the night that sticks in my mind is that night in Perth when you beat Fremantle and opened up these possibilities.
Yeah, we had some reasonable form in the first half of the year, and then we just sort of went through a little patch there. We weren't quite playing the sort of footy that we wanted to play, and it was sort of put us down about the middle rungs a little bit. And it was important that we needed to finish the season off in a really strong note. And we got rolled down at the MCG by the Bombers, and we came back after that game, pretty disappointed, but also pretty excited that we had some clear areas to focus on, and which we're able to do. And it's important wins in the back half of the year, no doubt about that. And I guess the Fremantle one over there was an important one, and gave us some confidence, and our players some confidence that we could really play well against the best teams.
We watched you last year, Horse, and I remember when you knocked over Richmond earlier, everyone goes, oh, wow, the Swans are coming. But you probably didn't have the maturity to last all the season. Can you reflect, and that was a long time ago, I know, this season, and you just described it, started off well, had a bit of a sort of a flat patch, and have come back. Is that a sign that this group, that extra 20 games, has matured them into a much more mentally and physically hardened team?
Yeah, I think so, Robbo. I certainly hope so. I mean, last year we had a number of our younger players coming through, and we were, there was a bit of the unknown, I guess, as far as probably from more outside. Yeah, the things like the draw and that was all a bit different, and so it was always going to be a tougher season for us this year. And people know more about our players, our game style, all of that. So really, if we won the same amount of games this year as what we did last year, we would have considered that to be an improvement. We just missed out on top 4 last year, but to go that extra game this year, hopefully that shows the signs of maturity amongst our group. We've got some, experienced boys at the top end that really help with that, and those younger lads coming underneath that are really excited to be playing this time of the year.
Jared, talk about that Fremantle game, and that was huge. The scenes at the end of you jumping up and down, you were a young man again, you were just loving it, Horse. It was fantastic. But I reckon the most important... Sorry?
Go on.
But I reckon the most important game was when you knocked over Melbourne at the MCG. Now, when you go into this game, how much do you address what Melbourne are doing now, and how much do you address what you did that night at the MCG against Melbourne to beat them?
Well, look at it, Robbo. We've had a couple of close tussles with the Demons over the last couple of years down at the MCG, and I mean that was 13 weeks ago or around about that, so it was a fair while ago, and both teams changed a bit, both with how they play but also the personnel. We'll look at that. We won't spend too much time. I mean, we'll look at what the Demons have been doing of very recent weeks, and particularly last week they were fantastic. So as on all the good teams, they've got a certain style of play, and Melbourne, as we saw last year and again this year, are one of the best at it. So we'll be looking at the last probably 2 or 3 weeks and really focusing on that more than anything.
It's a real team game. You need every single person. We know that, John, but from the outside we look at individuals, and we know the Melbourne midfield is going to be critical for them if they're going to win the game. And we all look at the Swans midfield and go, right, Parker, he's just been a fantastic player. But Chad Warner, the elevation of Chad Warner to the level he's at, can you just give us an insight into his thinking, right, Oliver, Petrarca, Viney, what's Warner going to deliver, you think?
I think for a third-year midfielder, he's really embraced this year. He's got better as the season's gone on. He's really started to mature as a player. We still think he's got a fair bit of improvement left in him. He's learning every week. He got tagged again last week, and that's a great sign that he's able to deal with that, and he's still able to contribute to the team. We feel like he's growing all the time. He's a powerful young bloke. He's got plenty of confidence. Certainly Luke Parker helps with him in that midfield group, as Callum Mills does, and we think James Rowbottom's had a really good year as well. So, those boys in that midfield have got a big task. There's no question about that against a powerful ruck and midfield combination. But I think they've got some confidence too that they can play well as a unit.
I don't know whether you like the buy or not, John, but it's worked for Tom Papley, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, Jared. I mean, we're sitting here Sunday night, and obviously we played the last game of the last round, and anything that happens in that obviously gets a bit dodgy, and we weren't quite sure whether we played on the Thursday night or the Friday night immediately after the game. So it was a bit of a relief, I guess, to hear the Friday night schedule come through and be able to have Tom. He's pulled up really well, so great to have him available for the first final.
Just curious, John, did someone from the club ring the AFL and say, hey, Papley, one day, can we maybe get the Friday night slot and not the Thursday night slot?
I'm not sure, Robbo. I didn't. I had a bit on my plate after that game. So
you should have, mate.
Well, I think it was just a common sense one to finish top four, and you play the last game on the Sunday night to be able to at least get the Friday. I think it was just a common sense decision.
You've got a new coaching rival in town. Adam Kingsley's got the Giants job. Do you ping him a message to welcome him to your two-team town?
I will actually at some stage, Jared. I will. I don't know him very well. I think I've only come across him.
Have you sent him a message yet or not?
Not yet. I will, though. I will. I promise. Welcome him to Sydney. We might even go and have a bite to eat at some stage in the off-season before we resume hostilities next year.
Very good. Great to have you with us, John. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, John.
Good on you. Thanks, guys.
All right. John Longmire with us at Swans headquarters.
He's a marvel, isn't he?
He is.
He's a marvellous coach.
Back into the top four. And ahead of schedule, it feels like, too.
Every club's looking for a guy like John Longmire.
All right. Across town, the Giants have found theirs. They said they struck the jackpot when they unveiled Adam Kingsley today.
I'm genuinely so happy for Adam. He has done the most remarkable apprenticeship. He taught me more about forward play and forward craft than any other coach I'd had at any stage, which for a guy that played back pocket and midfield predominantly, I think says a lot about his ability to see all parts of the game.
Obviously super excited about being appointed the head coach of the Giants and really excited about what this list is capable of. I'm so grateful for the Giants that they've allowed me that opportunity to show that I can coach and trying to lead this club and this playing group to where we want to go. The potential that we have here is really enormous. As I said, I can't wait to get stuck in.
Fair chance it's been a whirlwind day, but a momentous day at that. Adam Kingsley, welcome as a senior coach to 360. Congratulations.
Thanks, Jared. Robbo.
Would you take us to the moment when the phone call came yesterday and you were told that this long-term dream had been realised?
Yeah, Jimmy Bartell actually called me and just informed me that I'd been successful. And obviously you can imagine when you're hearing that call, having heard a couple of you've been unsuccessful calls. That one was obviously a lot better, and then it's been a little bit of a whirlwind since then, trying to get up to Sydney. Obviously, meet the playing group today, meet a few of the board members, and Dave Matthews, Jason McCartney, Tony Shepherd. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind.
Adam, I want to go back to the phone call. Did Bartell's name come up on your phone?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Where were you exactly? Was your wife? I don't know if you're married. Was your wife there? Did you say it's Bartell?
This is it.
No. This is it.
No.
What happened?
No, I answered it. I was at home. my wife was in the other end of the house, so I took the call, was successful, and obviously once the call had finished, I informed Nadine, my wife, that we'd be moving to Sydney, which was pretty emotional. She was obviously really happy, so as we all are.
What does it mean to you, Adam, having built this resume, and as you say, you've been so close in processes and agonisingly last year? What does it mean to you to have got there?
Oh, look, obviously from a personal level, I'm just really, really proud and really excited to be given the opportunity to try and lead a program, lead a football club, lead a playing list, and see where I can take them. I have enormous confidence in what I can do coaching wise, and I'm just really excited to get my hands dirty and get stuck in and try and make the most of that opportunity. And then it's just really exciting. I can't wait to get started, albeit we're going to have to wait a few weeks, hopefully 4 weeks, whilst I finish my job at Richmond.
Robbo and I swapped notes last night. The one word that came to mind, having spoken to you at stages during the year, was ready. How ready do you feel for it?
Oh, look, I feel ready. I mean, there's going to be things in this job that pop up that I had no idea existed, or there'll be different challenges than what I've had to deal with as an assistant coach. But you know what? With a lot of good footy people within the industry working at the Giants, I think we put our heads together and we find a solution. And typically that's how I work, and that's how the coaches I've worked for operate, Dimmer in particular. So I don't think I'll be any different to those guys, and we'll work our way through it and find the best way.
Great interview with Sam Mitchell recently, King, is about where Sam Mitchell is coaching his team now, believing the game might head into a certain direction in 3 years, and when it arrives, they're going to be 3 years in the planning. How advanced in your thinking are you where you think the game is going? And is that, I haven't got the right word because we're sort of talking the future here, but have you got an idea where you think the game's going, and you are going to coach your group now towards that thinking?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you keep your eye on the trends of the game and what you think matters. But the reality is, I don't think the game has changed a lot with the key parts of it and the fundamentals of the game, and that's the contest, really. You have to be really strong in the contest, and we see the finals teams, the teams that finish up the top, typically are the best contest teams. So that's a kind of a basic that is non-negotiable. We have to be great in that, and there's various things we can do there. The way the game's played, I mean, typically you're relying on both your offense and your defense, and I want to play an exciting brand. I think the Richmond influence has been pretty strong. Certainly, Mark Williams at Port Adelaide, when we played that exciting brand, and that has left an imprint on me too. So that's typically what I lean to when I think about the game, and that's how we want to try and coach up the Giants to play that exciting brand of footy, that really attacking flair, but also having real reliability and strength in the contest.
Adam, we have Jack Revolt with us in the studio tonight. Jack, so this is, I would think, a pretty great moment.
You know what? The best thing about this is that the running joke of the Tigers through the senior coaching panel is that King has played 180 games, and I think there might be 13-odd or 12-odd games there of pre-season, so he's never got to the 200 club. And if you don't bungle it up, mate, and you don't get the sack 7 games in, you're going to make it. So congratulations. Welcome to the 200-game club.
Lifetime achievement.
We're very proud as a football club. Obviously, Kings will be there tomorrow and see the rest of the finals series out for us, but we are very, very proud of what he's done for us, and we wish him the best going forward. It really means a lot to us.
What does he do? I know that coaches all do something well. What has Kingsley got that's got a real affinity with the playing group?
Well, he loves jumping in.
Cash for comment now, Jack.
He loves jumping in and doing weights with the boys, but no, I think I look at the motivation aspect of it and the ability to, I mean, he's coached defence for a long time now for us, but the ability to get us to buy into what's important in defence. And it's really hard for a week-to-week things to reinvigorate the message. And Kingers does that a lot. And from a personal point of view, I know Nick spoke about it last night, played in the back pocket, but somehow has a bit of a knack of telling key forwards and knowing what key forwards need. So I've really appreciated that over the journey between myself and Kingers.
The Revolts love you, Adam.
Yes, yeah. They cost a bit too, just
Very nice. We look forward to living the journey with you, Adam. Congratulations on the appointment, and in a few weeks, see you at the Giants.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your support.
Good. Adam Kingsley.